off, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right, can you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure, my name is Supreme Essence. I am the owner of Credit Warriors Inc., and I have started this beautiful movement, Credit Warriors.
All right, so tell us a little bit about how you grew up. Where you from?
I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I grew up with mostly with my grandparents because they tried to give me a stable environment. My parents were both drug addicted, and it led me to want to be in the streets. I didn't want to listen to my grandmother, and I just ran the streets.
Now, Connecticut is a. I don't hear too many people that are from there, and I do know it is closer, pretty close to New York, So, what was their lifestyle like and environment growing up in that area?
It was, I won't say it was, I lived in impoverished conditions because I did have my grandparents. My mother, she was going through her own drug addicted demons, but I was young and I really didn't have an understanding of why we went without. So she gave me to my grandparents and also a few of her friends and my godparents. They most likely raised me. Connecticut is, some parts of it is very wild. It's the hood. Everywhere has a hood. Where I wanted to be versus where I should have been is two different worlds. My grandparents lived in a beautiful neighborhood on the north end, and I wanted to be in the projects. So by choice, I chose the hood over a stable environment.
So, once you got into the high school years and things of that nature, how did things kind of start shifting from there?
It was really bad those years because I dropped out in the ninth grade. Actually, the year prior to that, I was in eighth grade. In order for me to stay out of juvenile, my probation officer said I had to graduate eighth grade. So she was the only person that came to my eighth grade graduation, was my probation officer.
So would you say, did it have anything to do with influences in reference to peer pressure, or just was it a part of the times and just being around where you were?
I feel that it was no peer pressure because I was a leader, always been a leader. I never really followed, people followed me. It was just more about trying to prove loyalty to the wrong people and to the streets.
So, after high school, or what? Well, in reference to your case, how did that come about?
My drug charges.
Yes.
Back in let me see, I think I was maybe about 19 or 20. Um, Running around with the wrong crowd. I was selling drugs and I caught three cell charges, which eventually led to my house, my apartment getting raided, and me going to jail, getting bonded out, and going to court until I had to serve my time. The first time I served time was only a few months because it was my first charge, and then I believe I was pregnant at the time also in prison, and once I got out of prison, I had my baby, but I was in a halfway house.
Can you kind of break down, a lot of times when we hear these stories about jail and the system and things of that nature, it's mostly coming from men. From my experience and just what we've seen, especially when you're talking about the entertainment side of things and things of that nature, it's mostly guys who've done time in prison. Is there a difference with the women? Are you guys treated differently? You say you did about 3 years, right?
Yes, one of my bids was 3 years. My longest bid was 3 years.
So what was that like, just being a female in a woman's prison?
Being a female in a women's prison, it's I won't hype it up and say it was like real harsh conditions because it was the way they treat the prison is manicured. The lawns are beautiful. The facilities are spotless. We have clean clothes. We have everything that we need. The thing that we're lacking most is like the resources to help us when we come out of prison, because most of the time it's a revolving door. When you come out of prison, it's like no one wants to hire you because of your record, your past. So all that needs to change. But as far as being in prison, what it helped me to do was reconstruct my value system. Inside the prisons, they have different programs where you can choose to either want to change your life or you can go back to the streets and be who you were when you first came in. So everyone has an equal chance. It depends on what kind of inmate you want to be. If you want to be a model inmate and get yourself together, that's what it's supposed to. That's what prison is supposed to do. But I don't think it was anything rough. I never had a fight while I was in there. People do fight, but that's what they choose to do.
All right, so coming out, what was life like when you got out and you started to make those adjustments to get to the next step in your life?
It was very hard when I came home, especially after doing my 3 year bid. It was very hard to make my adjustments. No one wanted to hire me because the application asks if you have you ever been a convicted felon or are you on parole, whatever, and it was yes, and I just could not get a job in my field what I'm qualified for. I have a business background, so I resorted to having to take low end jobs, and the last job I held was I was a waitress at a very popular restaurant, and I was only making $300 a week or less because I worked 2 days out of the week. It was bought by someone who didn't want the old staff there. They wanted to push us out. But prior to me getting that job, my boss, he was a great brother. He is a great brother. He gave me a chance, and he knowing my past, he gave me the chance and he hired me, and I give him the greatest thanks ever, and
All
he
right.
knows who he is.
So moving forward, what was I guess was that the turning point in your life to kind of, lift you up in a big way, or was it something that came afterwards?
Um, well, after I did my 3 year bid, I was on parole, and I got in some more trouble because I cut somebody. The guy put his hands on me, and instead of thinking and walking away, I grabbed something and I cut him. So being on parole, it sent me back to prison, and that was a year to the day that I gotten out for doing the 3 years. So I went back, and I went back for 9 months, and it was my shortest bid and my worst and hardest bid to do, because I felt like everyone who believed in me and I said I was going to change, my children, I let them all down. And that's when that was my breaking point where I came out. I got everything back. Had a great job. I was a manager at a pet store, and I lost it all again doing that 9 month bid. And
So was you're now in Atlanta, but how long did that take for you to relocate? Did you start the credit before then, or was it after you got here?
I started the credit before I got here. I started the credit in 2016. My last prison bid was 2010. So I made several mistakes in between. My credit was horrible. And during my darkest times, one of my darkest times in 2016 in February is when I decided to get myself together. And my company was born because of my own experiences.
So kind of break down credit. A lot of credit is like today, it's a real popular topic, especially amongst our people. A lot of people are trying to better themselves and get their credit scores up, but still a lot of people are not familiar with credit and why you need it. Kind of break that down for us and explain, credit as a whole and what it does for your life.
Sure. Credit is life. It's what soul is to human form. That's how I always explain credit. It's so essential. We don't know how important credit is because we're not taught. There's no curriculum, especially in our communities. It's all about paying cash or trying to survive. And credit, what I thought was for the rich other nationalities. I thought, I wasn't worthy to have credit or ever receive credit. I had a misconception of credit all the way. And credit is literally our financial heartbeat. Without it, you will not get it. You won't get anything. You can't move forward. You can stay stagnant.
What would be some of the ways that, for me, I went to college, and when I first got to college, I got all of the loan information came to me, all of the student loans and basically anything to get me to get a credit card. I was getting checks in the mail. Check may be $3,000, and the check may say all you have to do is cash this check. So for people like me, coming into college, we don't have much money. We're trying to make it through. We're liable to cash those type of checks, and it'll ruin your credit early. So, what kind? I mean, what do you have to say about that in regards to, a lot of us, as soon as we hit 18 and we're grown, we start getting bombarded with a lot of stuff.
Well, when it comes to money, I mean, people, it's hard to turn that down. When you're a college student, most of the kids in college, unless they have, parents that take care of them, um, they're starving. My son was in college and he was starving. And at the time when he was in college, I had no money, and I would give him my last. And it's hard. So I would say don't be tempted. Try to get yourself together first. Get your scores high enough so that you can get the better offers, not the subprime offers. You want to get great offers, but you want to be able to afford also what you spend. You don't want to go above your means, and it's very hard. It really starts way before college. It's to the parents who have children. When your children turn 17, throw them on as an authorized user on your own credit card. That way you can build their credit up, and then they can have A1 credit. So when they get out of college, they can sustain on their own.
You know why that's special in particular? I was watching a show where there was a financial person, a credit person on the show, and she mentioned the authorized user.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally just had my mother do this for me last year, and I'm 34 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's information that she didn't know. I didn't know. My mother has great credit, but she still didn't know to, put me on that or put my little sister on that. And that's something that I think it should be widely spread because it will help us out a lot. I think I literally went up about 50 points in that.
Yes. Sometimes even more. I've done it for my children. I have 3 sons, are all adults. My husband raised their score over 100 points just by doing that.
Wow. So what does it mean to be a credit warrior?
Credit warrior, it means that you are in a battle, constant battle. So we have to win. And we win by using the laws against the credit bureaus, because the credit bureaus, they are in the business to report data. Okay, even if the data is untrue, it doesn't matter. They're going to report it, and it's not fair to us as consumers. So we are on this battlefield, and we have to counter. When they strike back, we have to strike back. So literally, that's when I came up with the name Credit Warriors. I knew that I was in for a battle.
What can you tell us about, like I mentioned that credit is a big topic right now. Is there anything going on, and especially with you in particular, that is different from everybody else? Because one thing that I have seen on social media, and I ask a lot of people who are into credit that I know, some of my colleagues and things of that nature, a lot of people are pushing that we can fix your credit. And how do we know who to go to versus who to bypass when there's so many people claiming that they can do it these days?
That's a great question. Because the reason why I'm different is because I give you the blueprint. I drop the jewels on how you can fix the credit yourself, and I give that to you for free. I teach you with a step-by-step book. It's called the Credit Warriors Handbook. It's available on my website, creditwarriors.org. You can download the free handbook, and you can learn. My handbook is changing millions of people's lives. The testimonies in my Facebook group, outside of the group, they're beyond. I mean, there's nothing that compares to what I do. So what I do, instead of telling everyone, hey guys, hire me, you can do it yourself. That's the basis of me teaching you how to do it. The reason why I do, there's over 73 million people in the United States that need their credit done. They need their credit fixed. Okay, so there is a need for it. I don't want to do everyone's credit. I'm in the business to teaching people how to fix their own credit so that they can help themselves for generations to come.
What can you tell us about the difference between business credit and personal credit?
Oh, there's a big difference. With business credit, it's usually it goes on. If you have your own personal score high enough, you can do it without a personal guarantee. That basically means you won't use your own social security number. So when you use personal credit, you're using, it's what's called utilization. So if your utilization is over 30% of what your total credit amount is, your score is going to start going down. With the business credit, you can use as much as you want of it without it hurting your personal score.
What is okay, so you got the personal credit, you have the business credit. A lot of times when people are companies are soliciting, for people to apply for loans and things of that nature. Sometimes it feels like if you have everything they're requiring, then you don't need the loan in the first place. Uh, kind of elaborate on that and what that means to you.
That's exactly what happened to me and why I'm here today. I went into the bank as a business owner thinking that I can get a loan for like $5,000 and I got turned away. They want to see that you don't need the money in order to get the money or the credit. That's just how it works. You have to show that your business is using trade lines. Trade lines could be a phone number that reports to the credit bureau. You have to have at least 10 of those, 5 net 30 accounts, and those are accounts that you're going to be ordering things from, and they're going to give you credit for 30 days, and you have to pay it back before the 30 days are up. You got to show you have all that, and all that costs money. For your business, in order to get business loans, you have to have like a low bank rate, like a low 5 bank rating, and that means you have to have 10 grand in the bank sitting for 3 months without it being touched. So there's so many things that go into it. People think you just get an LLC and you're in business. No, it's so much, and we're not taught this. We're taught the basics. It goes beyond the basics. People that come here like from other countries, they haven't mastered. That's why they get the gas stations. That's why they have the 7-Elevens. Not because they are from a different race. That's what we're taught to believe. Oh, they get everything, or this race gets everything. No, we all have equal opportunity. It's about the knowledge that's passed down from generation to generation.
Okay, so with that being said, being that you're giving away information, a lot of times they say the game is to be sold and not told. Is there what do you have set up to kind of help? I guess even to create income if you've given a pamphlet on your website. Is there something that you're doing separately from that? Are you offering some type of service or something like that that actually would cost?
I do have a service. I have a credit repair service, and it's more like a donation of $300 for the service. I figure I give you the blueprint. I'm not going to do it for you. You have to pay me for my time, of course. So, and that helps the business to thrive. I also have partnerships with different companies that help people to raise their credit scores. And by mentioning their names in my group, then people, they buy into that company or they join their company. So I have partnerships. I write books. I sell books on my website. So my website helps me to generate an income that's really passive. I mean, I don't have to work for it really. It's just it comes in. It's residual. So my website works for me.
And what is your website?
It's creditwarriors.org. I sell my letters. There's letters you can write to the credit bureaus. You can purchase the letters. They're very inexpensive. They're like $5. But then when you have lots of people purchasing your stuff on the website, it helps you to afford living.
Absolutely. All right. So being that you are where you are, you've overcome a whole lot of adversity and things of that nature. What's your 5-year plan from now?
My 5-year plan for now is to have everything automated so that I don't have to do this anymore. I'm forced to sit behind a desk all day because I have clients that I have to work on. I want to have software that's developed where they can go on and they can just put their name in and their information, and it automates whatever they're trying to do. So basically the client will be doing their own credit repair through my system, and we would get paid probably like through a subscription or something like that. That's like my dream right there, to automate my business, my whole entire business.